Hey folks, welcome to Grab a Stack of Rock on Friday, October 3rd. We have a special Harrison-centric show for you tonight as we look at some box sets that he's been acquiring. We don't know much more than that, aside from what he showed us in the thumbnail. Harrison, how are you doing on this Australian Saturday morning?
Well, I'm hearing echo on your net. As in I speak, and I can hear you. I can hear me coming out of your speaker. Sorry.
You're coming, yeah. That's better now. No, I presume I can still be heard and all. So this goes back to a show that we did, I think, way back on the Brain Train era days, where Mike showed off a bunch of his box sets that he had, and I wasn't sort of instated as de facto co-host at the time. So I wasn't on that show, and since then we hadn't. How is my audio? Because I know during the Blaze interview I had a few hiccups. Am I
coming through?
You're fine. I just disabled my Blue Snowball microphone, so maybe that'll solve the problem.
Let's see. No, I can still hear you from
reason. Okay, well, let's just continue, and we'll troubleshoot as we go.
Anyway, for the moment.
All right, so that's basically the context of that. So this will be mostly me talking and showing off. Mike will chime in where on few occasions, and I'll just keep quiet so that I'm not being heard twice. So I've got 3 rounds, the classic grab a stack of rock, triple rounder, and I think here, yeah, don't put that one on. Anyway, so I've organized these in like small, medium, and large. So we're going to start off with some fairly small ones, but I assure you we will see some more impressive ones as the show goes on. So we're going to start with one of these ones, your classic 5-in-1 album collections, and this is for Electric Light Orchestra. So you get, and these are the sort of slipcase versions designed to mimic the previous sort of vinyl releases. So this is On the Third Day, which was their third album. Face the Music, number 4 or 5. A New World Record, 5 or 6. I'm sorry, I didn't look up the discography before this. Time, one of my all-time favorites from 1980. I got the order wrong. Discovery, 1979. And then Time, one of my all-time favorites from 1981. Discovery and A New World Record are not too far behind it. So this was an awesome way to get a whole bunch of ELO albums that I really liked and didn't have, except for I already did have A New World Record, and so I sent that along to Mike with, I think, one of the very first packages I sent him. Now, even though these are styled after the original vinyl releases, the discs and, of course, the track listing on the back actually has a whole bunch of bonus tracks associated with each album. So some of my favorite bonus tracks here include Evil Woman, the stripped down mix, which, in addition to being a little more sparse with the instrumentation, also features an additional verse not heard on the original recording. There's Surrender, which was a song started at the time of A New World Record or shortly after, but wasn't completed and therefore got finished around the time these albums came out, which this compilation is 2010. I think these came out slightly before that. And then there's a demo of On the Run from Discovery, which I really like because On the Run is one of my favorite songs from that album.
Can I just check my microphone real quick? I did some settings changes. How am I sounding?
Yeah, you're better. You're just a bit quiet. No echo. Sorry, there is echo for some reason, but you're not as crunchy.
Okay, we'll leave it like this for now.
All right, so moving right along, we have another album. This is So by Peter Gabriel, from when he decided to actually start naming his albums. Now, this is I'm not sure. I think it's the 25th anniversary edition. Could be 35th. So was, 86, 87, and this is 2012. So someone who's not talking can do the math on that. But this is a cool little box. I bought this more for the bonus discs than for the actual album. You've got basically, you've got the actual album on disc 1, and then disc 2 and 3 are live in Athens 1987, which I picked up because I wanted a Peter Gabriel live album, and the Plays Live highlights or the Plays Live just didn't scratch the itch for me with the songs that I knew. But this one here has got, this is the picture. It's got Shock the Monkey. It's got Family Snapshot. It's got Intruder, which is one of my favorite songs from that third self-titled album. And I didn't expect that he'd have played it live, so I was so happy to get that. Games Without Frontiers, another one of my favorite songs of his, one that's actually not on any version of the Plays Live, so that was instrumental in me actually getting this version. No Self-Control, Salisbury Hill, Sledgehammer. It's everything I knew and loved on here. It's a great show. The album, I've only listened to it once or twice, the studio version. It's got some good stuff on it, but I mainly bought this for the live stuff. Now, there is an even bigger, sort of even more expanded top-of-the-range version of this, which has a DVD of that show as well. But I bought this for like 25 or 30 bucks on Amazon, which was a real good price. What it would have cost me to actually get that that DVD version would have been like 3 or 4 times that at least. So I think I'm fine with this. Yeah, Jake, unfortunately, I have no Nightwish box set. They even have a box set? It's both.
They have box set versions of albums, that's for sure.
Yes, that's true.
Awesome. Yeah, you want me to go, or you have more?
I've got a few more. Sorry, I was just waiting to see if you had anything more to say, because I don't want to launch into talking and then have a whole load of echo come out. So we're moving on to this. Is another.
I do have one thing to say. We have a comment from Holin earlier today, who was surprised that you owned "So" by Peter Gabriel.
Interesting. Yes, I mainly picked it up for the live album. That's why I have that one, Holin, because it has a lot of songs from the third Peter Gabriel self-titled album, which I really like that one. Everyone seems to like the echo. Well, spoiler alert, there might be an echo of Harrison's on a future show. Anyway, moving right along to a very oddball pick, at least. One I'm don't think you're expecting. This is the box set version of Recto Verso by Zaz, who is a French singer who does sort of a jazzy soul type of music. Now, it is a bit of story time here. So I got to find out about Zaz because when I was studying French in l'école, when I was in high school, one of the things that one of the teachers did one day was play us some French music, and they played a song called Je veux, which translates to I Want, by Zaz, and I was hooked on that song from that first listen, and I always kept it in my mind. And then when I was finally getting my own CD collection, I was like, I should probably check out this Zaz person. And I have a few live albums, and in fact, I was buying a live album, and then I saw that they had this one as well. And I thought, yeah, that doesn't actually up the postage by too much, and it's not too expensive. I'll get that as well. So this is the top-of-the-range version of Recto Verso, which was the album that was being toured on one of the live albums, so I do know some of the songs already from it. It's got a second disc with a bunch of bonus tracks, and then a DVD with some documentary footage. I always prefer my DVDs to be the Alice Cooper style with a live show, but it's not the end of the world. Oh, I forgot. I need to grab something. Let's hope the focus doesn't go out of shift. It did. Hello, I'm here. Hello, come on. There we go, better. So this is not a box set. This is Slade Alive. This is their compilation, which compiles Slade Alive Volume 2, Slade on Stage, and the Alive at Reading EP. Now, why this is important is because up until recently, this was the best place to get any sort of live Slade, because it was everything they'd previously released. But a few years back, they announced a box set by the name of All the World is a Stage. Jex definitely speaks French. He speaks much better French than I do. And I would assume that Dan Chartrand also speaks French. So All the World is a Stage.
We might find out about Dan Chartrand speaking French within about a week, as we have something coming up with a French-Canadian artist. So,
Very well. Watch that space. So Slade, All the World is a Stage. So this is has some of their previous live releases, but not all of them. So if you want everything, you still have to buy this in addition to this. But it's got Slade Alive, and it's got Slade on Stage. But then it's got 3 previously unreleased shows. So there's Alive at Reading, the full show. Now Alive at Reading is famous because Ozzy Osbourne had cancelled. And Slade was sort of like a sort of like rush in, like quick, get someone in there. And this Slade were at like the nadir of their career at this point, and this Alive at Reading show actually sort of revitalized them, gave their career a second surge in life. So this is a very historically relevant show, and it's not a bad show at all. Then there's Live at the Hucknall Miners Welfare Club. This is the worst of them, not because it's bad, but the audio quality is not as good as the other shows, and there's a fair bit of overlap with some of the other live albums they've put out. But then there's Live at the New Victoria from 1975. Slade in their prime, and Slade give you a lot of good value for money, because even on this version here, there's very little overlap. There's only one version of Come On Feel the Noise on these entire 2 CDs. And there's only one version of Come On Feel the Noise on these 5 CDs. So you get a lot of different songs, a lot of variation, a lot of great songs, a lot of great value for money here. And Live at the New Victoria is probably Noddy Holder at his stone cold peak. That man does some things on stage with his voice that I don't know how he can do that. Raining in My Champagne is an unbelievable vocal performance, and he finishes it off afterwards by getting a drink of water and just going, well, that one's a bit hard on the vocals. Bit of an understatement there. Yes, I'm with Metal Roger. I live in Australia, so bands like never come here. So live albums are all I have, and I love live albums. People know that. So to finish off this round, I've avoided putting just straight slipcase DVDs in this show because they're not like really box sets. But this one I made an exception for because it is sort of more in the vein of what a traditional box set is, and that is Kissology Volume 2. So I bought this for the bonus disc mainly, which is Largo 1979, which was a sort of holy grail Kiss show for me because they play Radioactive from the Gene Simmons solo album, which is my favorite song from all the solo albums. I think it's fair to say it's one of my favorite Kiss songs, and I really wanted a live version. But I'm thrilled with this as well. You get Kiss in Attack of the Phantoms on disc 1. Now, little sidebar, Mike and I have been discussing potentially doing a show in the future on like Phantom of the Park / Attack of the Phantoms. If you guys want to actually watch that, let us know, and we may expedite our plans. It is a little research heavy, so don't expect us to turn it around in like a week, but that's something we've got in the pipeline we'd like to do. And disc 2, I mean, there's a whole bunch of like music videos and like TV performances on here, but it's mainly the concerts, which is what I want this for. So Sydney 1980, awesome show. My home country as well, so I love seeing shows in Australia. Kiss have recorded a couple shows in Australia. Symphony Alive was in Australia. And yeah, then disc 3 sort of starts out with a 1983 show, but it's a bit small, and then it goes into 1990, which is an awesome show here from the once they've unmaked up. Now, I think I can confidently say that this like post double platinum to like early 80s Creatures of the Night era of Kiss is probably my all-time favorite of Kiss from watching these concerts. I love Eric Carr, and I love the band in this, and I love hearing Radioactive live. But that ends round 1, the small items.
So to address Johnny Clouser here, what Harrison has on this is not Kiss Meets the Phantom. What he has is Kiss in Attack of the Phantoms, which is the cut that they aired in Australia, far superior to what we got here in North America, because they didn't use all that waka funk music for the fight scenes. They used like Kiss music. It's really actually watchable, and that's really an awesome. That Kissology is my favorite of the 3 sets. It's not only the best time period for Kiss, but it just has some great stuff. And I don't know if that's the same version of Radioactive that I'm thinking of that's on the Kiss My Ass video, but that's like my top favorite version of Radioactive.
It is. It's the version that you sent me years back that you got like cut out from like a radio show. Last thing I forgot to mention, I got this for $25 on eBay.
Nice. All right, well, let's get started with my Whitesnake box set collection. Now, as folks know, Geffen did a really good job of issuing the first batch of Whitesnake albums, basically from Snakebite up until Saints and Sinners, including the two David Coverdale solo albums. But there were three deluxe editions of Slide It In, Whitesnake, and Slip of the Tongue, 2 CD deluxe editions of those. But David Coverdale has topped all of those. And we're going to go in chronological order here, not necessarily release order. But first up in the Whitesnake Super Deluxe box set collection is Slide It In, which I've been listening to a lot. This box set is extremely comprehensive. I didn't like the 2 CD deluxe edition because it cut songs from the UK mix of the album. My original review of that was a bit scathing because I'm like, what's the point of getting 8 out of the 10 songs from the UK mix? You know, put them on there.
That's just not right. Reissues should have more tracks, not less tracks. I'm looking at you, Iron Maiden, with your 2020 remasters.
I guess they figured because, this is a first issue for the US market, it's all new to them. But I already had the UK version. I ordered it from the UK, and I wanted the set to be comprehensive. But this one really is. We get the US remix, which is the one that most of us are probably familiar with. That's the one with John Sykes. We have the original UK mix and bonus tracks, including B-sides, Need Your Love So Bad, Gambler, 7-inch Eddie Kramer remix, which is awesome. It's a really good remix. And a 7-inch Eddie Kramer remix of Guilty of Love, which is also awesome. The Eddie Kramer remixes, I don't know the background there, but awesome tracks. Then we get a disc of Monitor mixes and intros from September 1983. Really rough stuff, but pretty good. Then we have John Lord's last Whitesnake show in Sweden, April 16th, 1984. We have Live in Glasgow, Scotland, which I listened to today, and I think it is the best Whitesnake live album that you can get. Live in Glasgow, Scotland, March 1st, 1984. It has John Lord as well.
Might have to check that one out.
Oh, it's really, I think you would like it.
Because I'm not very interested in all these 1990 Donington and post 88 live albums.
Right. The voice was still strong at this point. There's some really cool stuff in here. Like he does a little bit of Only My Soul, which was from one of his solo albums. Hang on, let me check my notes. Only My Soul. Soldier of Fortune, and John Lord throws in some Smoke on the Water. Cozy on drums. It's just awesome. Mel Galley on guitar with John Sykes. They do Need Your Love So Bad on this. Then we have a CD of early mixes, original demos, and obscurities, including something called Wheezy Interludes. And we have more original demos, all kinds of stuff. And then something called Unfinished Symphonies, demo ideas that were never finalized. So we get a lot of tracks that were never finished. And then we have a DVD with all the music videos and live clips. Whew. And that's just Slide It In. I spent a lot of time listening to these, but obviously I couldn't listen to like all 6 discs on each one leading up to this episode. But this one gets top marks, I'm telling you right now. Like I said, it's got the best live album that you can get from Whitesnake, in my opinion. If you love that Sykes version of Whitesnake, this is the one. Following that,
I've got Back to the Bone for like live in 1984.
I listened to that a bit this week too, but that's a really rough recording.
Yeah, it's mostly bootleg stuff, and there's a bit of back and forth. But I very much like that era, so I think I'm going to check out Glasgow.
Also, on Back to the Bone, Coverdale's voice was a lot rougher. But logically speaking, we have Whitesnake 1987 next. Another album that was released in 2 different versions. I sought out the UK version, which came with bonus tracks, of course, that were not on the US version. I guess you couldn't call them bonus tracks. It was just basically a different running order. But they had a great song called You're Gonna Break My Heart Again, and a ballad called Looking for Love. Both great songs. Great songs. So this original album remaster is disc 1. Then on disc 2, we get something called Snakeskin Boots. Live on tour 87-88. Now that's, of course, with the Vivian Campbell, Adrian Vandenberg lineup. But there's a good set list there of, 80s Whitesnake stuff. The sound of the band really kind of changed between Slide It In and this. Then we have a CD called 87 Evolutions, Demos and Rehearsals. Now what that is he kind of does these mashups, these mixes of tracks where he kind of starts with the earliest, roughest demo, and then he transitions into like the polished demo and then to the rough mix. So you get like 3 different versions of the song sampled, but you get the complete song. It's kind of seamless. You can hear when it changes by the sound quality changing, but there's no like abrupt, jarring change. It's quite interesting, but kind of just interesting. It's not something you would say, wow, I really want to listen to the Evolutions version of Here I Go Again. CD4 is the really interesting disc, 87 versions. So they did a lot of remixes and remakes around this time, and not a lot of them were easy to find. There were EPs. There's a Japan mini EP called the 1987 Versions, which is on here. But first you get a remix of Still of the Night, which is really interesting. Is This Love? Give Me All Your Love. And Here I Go Again, 87. Those are 2017 remixes, so previously unreleased. Then we get the 87 Versions Japan mini album, which has Standing in the Shadows, 1987 version. That's cool. Looking for Love, You're Gonna Break My Heart Again, and the 1987 version of Need Your Love So Bad, which is amazing. An amazing Coverdale song. I talked about that one on Joey Suto's channel, Rock Show Critique. Check out that episode, but it made my top 15 Whitesnake tracks. The 87 version of the gospel tune. I'm going to call it a gospel tune. Need Your Love So Bad. Then you get the radio remix of Here I Go Again, which is vastly different from the familiar version. And you get the Give Me All Your Love single version, which is the only Whitesnake studio recording with Vivian Campbell. They did a fresh Vivian Campbell guitar solo for that remix. And it's very noticeable. I believe that is the music video version. And then you get a DVD, Video Memories, making of Purple Snake Video Jam to Here I Go Again, and 87 Tour Video Bootlegs. I'm going to finish this round with the third album in that Geffen trilogy, which is Slip of the Tongue. And this is a personal favorite of mine because I love Vi. And I love Vi when he does commercial hard rock, which is what this is. And what's interesting about this is that you do get those evolutions, the demos, the rough mixes all jammed together. So you can hear Adrian Vandenberg's original ideas that he wrote for the riffs. And then you can contrast them to what Vi actually played, which is in many cases very different. If you check out the very first track, the title track, Slip of the Tongue, Steve Vai does a lot of harmonics. That's not on the Vandenberg stuff. It's not. And with Now You're Gone, he does all kinds of stuff that's really kind of reminiscent of when he would do the talking guitar with David Lee Roth, how the guitar would answer David Lee Roth. On Now You're Gone, David Coverdale's talking about Crying in the Night, and then Vi kind of answers him with a like, wah, 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 with his guitars kind of repeating it. Oh, amazing stuff. So you get the original 2000, pardon me. You get the original 1989 album remastered, but one major flaw with this. One major flaw with this. Kitten's Got Claws is edited. It used to open with a Steve Vai, what they call Cat Symphony, where he would do all these cat calls with different guitars. It's not on this. I don't know what happened, if that's a mistake. I don't know, but it's not on this. So you do need another version of Slip of the Tongue to get that. Bonus track.
Is it on the pre-gap, or did they just excise it entirely?
Don't know. It's just missing. It's not there. It opens without it. You get all kinds of cool stuff here with the remixes. You get, Sweet Lady Luck, which was a B-side. The Now You're Gone, Chris Lord Algae remix. Vi Voltage mix of Fool for Your Lovin'. Some of these were only available on promo singles. So it's really cool to get all this stuff. Disc 2, the Wagging Tongue edition, which is hard to listen to. It's a promo album that was released to radio stations, which has Coverdale kind of narrating about the songs in between clips of the songs. It's not It's a
At least it's not over clips of the songs like the Back to the Bone DVD.
Well, it doesn't really matter because you get the full album anyway, but it's something that was designed for a radio premiere, and it's not really that great for listening. Disc 3 is the Evolutions that I previously talked about. Disc 4 is the Monitor mixes, featuring some songs that didn't make it onto the album. Kill for the Cut, which has a really cool Vandenberg riff. Parking Ticket. In Desperate Search of a Melody. Oh, sorry, I got the title wrong. Kill for the Cut, In Desperate Search of a Melody, in brackets. Sort of a very rough version of Burning Heart, which would have been a Vandenberg cover that they intended to put on Slip of the Tongue, but Vandenberg hurt himself, so there's no point doing it without him. And We Wish You Well is on here. Then there's Disc 5, A Trip to Granny's House. Session tapes, wheezy interludes, and jams. And this is really, really rough, like Coverdale playing the song ideas on a cassette deck kind of stuff. And I love it. I love it. There's some really interesting stuff on here that didn't necessarily make the album. And then we have another disappointment, which is the Live at Donington 1990, which was released as a 2-CD set. This is condensed down to 1 CD. Therefore, they cut out a lot of the solos. I don't think the Vi Vandenberg solos are on here, and I think Tommy did a drum solo. None of that's on here. So there's really no point to Disc 6 Live at Donington at all. If you're going to get it, you need obviously you want the version with the guitar solos. It's Steve Vai. Come on. The guitar solos included songs from Passion and Warfare. So, yeah, you want that. And then there's a DVD with the Donington video, promo videos, bonus features, and all kinds of other stuff. And that is my round 1 of Whitesnake. We ain't even close to done with the Whitesnake. All of these sets are great, but, like I said, a little bit flawed. Let's take a look at all the comments that have been pouring in here.
Yeah, I've seen some love for this era of Whitesnake. I've seen some critiques of David's voice on tour.
Okay. Let's see where... Geez, we've had a lot of comments here. Okay, I'm going to skip all the Roger stuff. Love the live stuff on the Whitesnake box sets. Henry is echoing my comments. Right, okay, that's what we're talking about. We'll discuss the other later live stuff a little bit. We'll touch on it. Soldier of Fortune is... Yes, I've heard the Opeth version as well. I understand what you mean, Henry. We will touch on it, but we won't go crazy. Thank you, Jake. I agree. Johnny Metal, he has the box set but hasn't delved in, which is a problem that I have as well. We'll talk about that soon. Slip of the Tongue, these nice. And I agree, Slide It In is awesome. Finally a band Chris Starr likes. I don't know what that says about Harrison's box sets. Johnny Metal, saw them on the Slip of the Tongue tour. Coverdale was, yes. That's another thing about that Donington show. His voice is very, very rough. Great picks there, man. Joey Suto picked Sailing Ships for his top 15 Whitesnake songs. Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is, right? It's still David Coverdale, so it's still better than, some of the worst singers out there.
Although David Coverdale does have a habit of occasionally wailing above his range.
Yes, and he does that way too much on Donington, but it was very much in style at the time to go as high as you possibly could. Okay, so that is my round. We're at 7:30 and we have 3 rounds, but I don't want to skimp on these Whitesnake sets, so I'm going to throw it to Harrison. We'll move on with the show.
All right, so this next one is one that I'm going to need Mike's assistance with, so you'll just have to put up with a bit of echo when we get to that part. But so this is one that Jake will like. This is one, I kept seeing it in my local CD store every time I went there. And it took me like 4 times before I was like, all right, I'll buy this finally, because it was only $20, but I had no interest in the band, and it was Queensryche, The Verdict, the Masterpiece Edition, allegedly limited to 9,000 copies. So eventually I got this for $20. So in here you get a bottle opener. I can assure you I have never used this. A patch. I think this is a patch. It looks a bit like a thin coaster to me. A magnet. This is cool. This is actually, I think, the coolest thing in here. A magnet. Oh, I can put that up somewhere. Look at it. And then, of course, you get the music. So you get, in one jewel case, you get the album. I listened to this once. I didn't hate it like I hated Operation Mindcrime, but it certainly hasn't stuck with me. And then this is the part I'm going to need Mike with. So disc 2, sort of like a collection of like rarities and stuff. So first up, 2018 studio acoustic recordings. So now what I need Mike's assistance for is the previous availability / exclusivity of these tracks as I go.
Actually, I can just start right now. The 2 acoustic tracks are the only things exclusive to this box set, and they were the first recordings with Casey Grillo on drums. Everything else on this box set is either available in the Condition Human vinyl set or the Queensryche bonus tracks. So only the first 2 acoustic tracks are exclusive.
All right. So now, what I bought this whole set for, basically, other than maybe the magnet, was this live version of Queen of the Reich with Todd Latour on vocals, because Queen of the Reich is one of the few Queensryche songs that I actually love, and this version does not disappoint. It lets out this unholy scream at the beginning.
I concur. My favorite version of this song.
Half the time he'll let out that scream, it'll finish. I'll walk back to the CD player, click back, listen to the intro of the song again, just to get that scream again before going into the rest of the song, because this is a phenomenal version of one of my favorite Queensryche songs. This is. The rest of the stuff, I don't really care for. 2015 studio recordings. Maybe one day I'll give it a listen and be like, oh, that didn't sound too bad, sort of thing. But yeah, I bought this $20 for a magnet and one of the best live versions of Queen of the Reich you'll ever hear. All right, so next up we have Fleetwood Mac, 25 Years, The Chain. This is a good old box set from back in the day. So this is one of the ones where it's like all made of jewel cases. This is before the slipcase era, and each jewel case just sort of has lyric writing on it about the era. So this is sort of roughly in chronological order. There's a disc dedicated to like Peter Green / the pre-Buckingham Nicks era. But what you get in here is you get this little booklet here with lots of pictures. Mick Fleetwood being Mick Fleetwood there. Lots of is that a penguin? Sorry. Christine McVie hugging an inflatable penguin. But the music is why I buy these things, and so you get a lot of real cool stuff here. You get something old, you get something new, you get alternate versions of tracks here. So some of my favorite songs on here include obviously Oh Well, Green Manalishi, both from those early eras, probably my favorite early Mac songs. Then you get all sorts of alternate versions of different songs here. Like you get the single edit or single version mix of Isn't It Midnight, which I do prefer the original version, but I don't mind this version as well. Basically, every Fleetwood Mac song you'll know and want is on here except Hold Me, which was oddly not on the 4 CD, but on the 2 CD. They've got a version here of Tusk. Tusk is my favorite Fleetwood Mac song of all time. And it's the USC intro version, which is, if you know what the USC version is, it's Tusk, but with all the vocals replaced by the horn section, the USC marching band, which is my favorite version of Tusk, naturally. So the USC version has the first verse as the horns, and then the rest is Lindsay and Stevie singing. There's also Teen Beat on here, which isn't exclusive anymore. It's an instrumental outtake from the Mirage sessions, which I really like. Lindsay sort of going ham there. And what's the last? Oh, of the new songs, I like Make Me a Mask a lot. It's this sort of very gentle, delicate song, and I think it's Lindsay singing. This was released 1990, so Lindsay was technically out of the band, but I think he came back for like compiling this box set and recording some of the new songs. Some of the new songs I think have like Rick and Billy on there, but I think Make Me a Mask has Lindsay. All right, so this is another one that Jake will like, and everyone else will probably be scratching their heads. This is, Biohazard Sound Chronicle 3. So what this is, Biohazard is the name of what the Resident Evil series is called in Japan. So this is a Japanese box set with a whole bunch of Resident Evil game soundtracks on here. So it's got Biohazard 6, Best Track Collection, Biohazard 7, best track collection, then Biohazard 7 extra special tracks and extra tracks. Then it's got Biohazard 2 remake, best track collection, Biohazard 3 remake, original soundtrack, and then Biohazard Revelations 1 and 2 best track collections. Now, I bought this until I bought that Wicker Man radio version. This was probably the most I spent on one single song. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll enjoy. This wasn't terribly expensive for what it was, for the amount of discs on here, but it was But I bought this so that I could get a CD version of the Biohazard 2 remake soundtrack. This is Jake. This is Biohazard Sound Chronicle 3. What you want is Biohazard Sound Chronicle 2. So I bought this so that I could have a physical CD copy of the Biohazard 2 remake soundtrack because I wanted a song called Sordoade. Now, unlike the rest of the album, which is a score, Sordoade is this sort of atmospheric slow burn rock song. It's an original composition, and it plays for like a few seconds in the background over the car radio of Leon Kennedy's Jeep in the opening cutscene. But it's a really awesome song, and they've got the whole song on here. So the only place you can get that physically is either this box set or the original soundtrack CD that came with pre-orders of the game. But that would have cost me probably the same amount as I paid for this, and I've got 6 other game soundtracks in here, so plenty to enjoy. Now, you get this nice little booklet. Unfortunately, the text is all in Japanese, but there's pictures at least. And I love the Japanese because the word digisleeve doesn't mean anything to them. So the way this is packaged is it's like stacks of like digipack plastic trays that sort of like hinge out to get to the lower versions. Like the Japanese will find a way to put plastic in their CD packaging. They will never slide a CD in there without plastic to keep it secure, and I love that about them. All right, so this is one that's cool because the first time I showed this off on the show, Mike and Tim were scratching their heads like, hang on, I've got mine in a long box. This is the Life and Crimes of Alice Cooper, and mine is this sort of like book version. This is an awesome box set. Yeah, I've got a few things about. I would have liked Scrooge's song of If I Catch a Skin, and I would have put Fresh Blood instead of I Love America or something on here. But it's an awesome thing. Right? I've got Data now, so I don't need every song I wanted of Data to be on here. So many great songs, rarities, all soundtrack songs, early versions, single edits, single versions, demo, the original demo of He's Back, which is completely different, right next to the soundtrack movie mix of He's Back. Axl Rose and Slash and Easy appearing on Under My Wheels. So many great songs here. Rob Zombie even makes an appearance on Hands of Death, the Spook Show 2000s mix. And because with the Bee Gees from the motion picture Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. So there's all sorts of stuff on here. There's like the book has like a little sort of historical essay write-up, but then it's got like the members of the band giving like their thoughts on each song. And of course, look at you over there ripping the sawdust from my teddy bear. The demo, I love the song. You can only get it on an expensive reissue of Special Forces is the only other place to get this. And Special Forces, the domestic edition, or the regular edition I bought, was expensive enough as it is. Now, for my final one for this round, Mike, tell me, I can't remember, I'm very sorry. Did we like go through Anno Domini in depth on the show before?
I don't think so, but it's really good that you have that because I listened to the Forbidden remix this week.
Yeah. Oh, I love the Forbidden album. It's in like my top 5 Sabbath, and I loved it before the remix. Let me get that straight. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon because of the remix. I loved it before the remix. There's reviews. I have a review in writing to prove it. Anyway, so I will go through this box then because we haven't done this on the show previously. So I kept the rear insert, which explains what you get here. Remastered and remastered versions of the the second, third, and fourth Martin album, and then a remix of Forbidden, all with the bonus tracks. Now, first thing, you get this like book on the actual box set, sort of going through the era and talking about it with pictures. And then you get a replica of the tour book from the Headless Cross tour. Now, one of my favorite parts of this is that Tony, come on, I'm over here, I'm in focus. It literally every time I look to the side, it's like, where is Harrison gone? This webcam is like a baby. It's like, peekaboo, I'm gone now. Anyway, Tony Iommi writes his own bio, and he starts it with, I'm sick and tired of so-called professional journalists writing my bios from me by just rehashing all that's been said before, so I decided to have a crack at it myself. Which, I love that. Even Jeff Nichols gets admittedly tiny, but he still appears in the tour book with a bio. So this doesn't have a tonal idol. People were complaining about that at the time. The reason for that is it was on a different label. It got a deluxe edition reissue years back. It also doesn't have Cross Purposes Live, which I thought was a bummer, but I figure we'll see some sort of live box set later down the line. Apparently, this must have sold well enough because they started issuing the CDs separately from the box set. But anyway, keeping on with it, you get this poster of the Headless Cross art, which I'm not going to unfurl because it'll take me the rest of the show to put it back. And then, of course, you get the albums. These are in digisleeves, alas. That's just the way box sets are these days. But I didn't own any of these albums before. I was so glad to get them all, especially Forbidden, which actually receives new cover art where the sort of get these black bars, and then you get more of the rear cover art on the front. And then there's the rest of the rear cover art, which is this caricature of all the members in the band. Let's see, can you see? I think you'll see Cozy Powell there in the bottom right.
You can
I think that's going to be... yeah, I was about to say, I think that's Ice-T there.
Ice-T
Sorry,
and
I've
Ernie
got...
C. They're both there.
Sorry, I'll try to stop shaking.
That's definitely
then,
Cozy. On the original CD, that's like a 3-panel fold-out. You see Jeff Nichols. You can see
and Tony Martin himself.
But in the original
and
CD,
Iommi there coming out of the grave at the bottom.
Yes, he's driving the car. Like I said, on the original CD, that's a 3-panel fold-out with just the skeleton being the primary cover.
Yeah. So that is the Anno Domini box set, and I am so glad that we've got some Tony Martin stuff reissued in. It was 2024, I think, when it came out.
Check out Ash's channel there for that.
That's nice, because Dehumanizer doesn't have a full-length live album associated with it. I'm going to have to check that out, Ash.
It just has a 5-song bonus disc. Okay, so moving on to the next era of Whitesnake. After Slip of the Tongue, Whitesnake broke up, and David Coverdale did a little project with Jimmy Page that we covered on an amazing episode of Rock Daydream Nation. And Harrison goes blurry while I show off the next Whitesnake box set. Now, long time Grab a Stack of Rock viewers might remember a debacle that happened. I think it was like the Christmas 2022 show where I said to Marco and I think it was Marco and Tim or Marco and John. I can't remember who it was, but how would you guys like to see my Whitesnake Restless Heart box set? And then I couldn't find it. Okay, we can finally look at my Whitesnake Restless Heart box set. Beautiful silver finish here. I haven't even opened it. I'm just swamped with box sets. So I can't comment on this one nearly as much. I did listen to the album itself and some of the B-sides, but this comes with a fresh 2021 remix of Restless Heart, which I think that's going to be interesting because I always thought there was something about the original mix that was just kind of wasn't hitting the spot for me. It also has bonus tracks, B-sides, actually. There was a instrumental track called Oi. There's a track called Don't Fade Away. Sorry, that's not a bonus track. But anyway, they're sprinkled in there. Disc 2 is the remaster of the original album, so they don't skimp. They give you both. You can compare. You can pick a favorite. Disc 3 is called Dancing on the Titanic. Early arrangements and getting drum tracks in the studio. Kind of tells you what it is. There's some instrumentals there as well, including a track called Snakes Down South. Then we have Disc 4, which is Restless Heart, the Evolutions versions. So again, he takes the rough mix and puts it in there with the first studio demos and all that stuff, and does mega mixes of them, so to speak. And then we have a DVD here with all kinds of stuff that I never would have seen before. Fan videos and music videos for the songs on this. And we also have 3 songs from the Starkers in Tokyo show with Adrian Vandenberg, an unplugged show. We have a behind the scenes. Now, what I don't know 100%, because I haven't listened to it and I haven't checked, is if it has all the different B-sides. My favorite track is actually a B-side, and this, again, came up on Joey Suto's show, Rock Show Critique. My favorite track is a song called Too Many Tears, Part 2, which is sort of a more soulful horns remix of a ballad called Too Many Tears. I don't see it as I kind of skim through here, so I may have some reservations about this. I always prefer when they can include all the B-sides, so I might have to follow up on that. Now, I mentioned Starkers in Tokyo, which was the next Whitesnake album. That is represented here in this Whitesnake box set called Unzipped. And this is 6 discs, including a DVD, of unplugged Whitesnake. And I gave a good chunk of this a listen this week. First CD, Unzipped, in the studio, the love songs. So there's a lot of ballads. Love is Blind, that's a great ballad. Summer Rain, that's a great ballad from the later on years, which ironically, this box set I'm using kind of to represent the Starkers in Tokyo, but a lot of these songs come from after.
Not a Belinda Carlisle cover, is that?
No, it is not. It is not. CD2 is Starkers in Tokyo, but I think they remixed it. It doesn't say for sure, but I think they remixed it. I might be wrong. CD3, Snakeskin Boots, which is Starkers in Europe. Unplugged European shows. Some really great songs there. It's excerpts from 4 shows. Paris, Cologne, Stockholm, and Warsaw. And to Harrison's chagrin, the very first song they played in Warsaw is... Oh, sorry, it's not Sail... I was going to say Sail Away. It's not.
Yeah, I was going to make some snide comments about Sail Away, but don't worry. Don't worry.
Unplugged Sail Away.
Spoiler alert.
CD4, more Starkers. There's rehearsals. There's a New York show. There's some TV excerpts. A Made in Japan Unplugged with Good to Be Bad and Tell Me How. CD5, Up Close and Personal, previously unreleased acoustic demos. That was my favorite. I really love those kind of like David in his kitchen with an acoustic guitar jamming out a song on a cassette deck, and this has a ton of that stuff. Some of them turned into finished songs, some of them didn't. There's a song on here called Oh Shit Blues, and I think you can hear like his baby daughter like talking, well, not in a child. You can hear his daughter or granddaughter or something. You can hear a child with him in the room. Oh Shit Blues is interesting because it sounds like he's trying to play the riff from Black Knight. It's not entirely the riff from Black Knight, but it's very similar. And then we have Disc 6, the DVD Unzipped. So you get Starkers in Tokyo, the video, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Stockholm, Cologne, blah, 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 blah. All of that stuff. Bonus features. Oh my God. Just all kinds of photo galleries and all kinds of stuff. Forevermore. Purple Snake's video, Forevermore. So much stuff. Like you could spend a lot of time on that. And the final one that I want to show in this round is one of my more recent acquisitions, Still Good to Be Bad, which is a remix of the Good to Be Bad album. Not a bad album from the Doug Aldrich years. Now, you may say, well, Mike, you're forgetting the live box set. He did a live box set that you skipped. And it's like, no, I didn't buy that box set for a very good reason, which is it had nothing that was new. It was just the live albums reissued without the studio tracks that went with the live albums. Fortunately, he included the studio tracks that go with the live albums on this. So no, I didn't buy those live album box sets because I have them all in superior versions, including 2 Japanese imports with bonus tracks. So I don't need that box set. Don't count it. To me, it doesn't exist. We'll go to this one instead. 2023 remix of the album. Not bad. Again, I think the original mix might have needed some jazzing up. But it does give you the remaster of the original mix in case you want it. And if I'm not mistaken, this also includes all of the bonus tracks from Japan on various discs. We got the alternative remixes and versions, which is 13 remixes. I think that's where you get those bonus tracks that I mentioned. We get CD4, which is the Evolutions, once again. And Disc 5 is a Blu-ray this time, not a DVD. Audio, visual, music videos. So we get all kinds of tracks there, I don't know what these Purple Snake videos are. I can't remember what Purple Snake is, but it's on here. Foreplay Live, highlights from the 2008 European Tour. Cutting Room, New York, acoustic performances, and then a slideshow to an unzipped version of Summer Rain. Good box set, but it was very expensive. I waited until it went to 30% off, which is something we'll talk about in my next round. But that's it for this round, and then we are off to Harrison. My final round is much shorter.
All right, well, there's been a lot of support for Whitesnake. Jake, in particular, really supports the Good to Be Bad set there. Metal Roger is being Metal Roger about things.
Go through these comments. You waited 18 years for that Restless Heart. Yeah, I suppose. I still haven't opened it. Ash, Coverdale Page album is great. Yes, again, check out Rock Day Dream Nation for a great episode on that. So hard to get Restless Heart. I bought it at the HMV in Toronto. It was about $30. No. That's not true. My mum bought it for me at HMV in Scotland. In Scotland, in Glasgow. She bought it for me. Okay, Jake. I don't know if I agree with that statement. It's an okay album, though, and it has some good songs on it. I really like Woman Trouble Blues. He settled for the 2 CD version. Okay, instead of the Super Deluxe. Gotcha. And Forevermore is not available in a 2 CD edition, is what he's saying, I believe. He didn't get Unzipped. I can't remember if he decided because he... Okay. Check it out, though.
I didn't get it because acoustic and unzipped versions are a crime against rock.
Tell us how you really feel.
Oh, I will. Don't, spoiler alert, I will.
Yeah, we will. Yes, you know what, Jake, though? He's giving us good box sets for the most part. He really is. These are quality sets. He's putting a lot of time and effort. You can see the packaging is deluxe. I haven't shown you the booklets and whatnot, but you can imagine what's inside there. Maybe we'll take a look at one of them as we go through the end. I agree. They're Metal Roger. You need it for the collection. It's not complete otherwise. That's why you need all these box sets. You know what, Henry? They're not necessarily super memorable, but there's quality. There's a lot of quality. I really enjoyed listening to the Still Good to Be Bad this week. And that is all with the comments. Over to Harrison.
All right, so this is my third round. This is the bigger stuff, and we are going to start with a long box. But first, Mike, I'm curious. Can you tell us what was the packaging reason for the existence of a long box?
Oh, this is an interesting thing.
A store.
So, if you can imagine the bins where the records used to be in the record stores where you would flip through, I'm sure if you've been into a record store, you can imagine these bins. Well, along comes this newfangled thing called a compact disc. And what they did was put them in these long boxes that were roughly as tall as an LP, but only half as wide. And then you could put 2 rows of CDs into each of these record bins. And that's essentially why.
Of course, you ended up, in some cases, chopping the album art in half. Anyway, so The Stranger is my favorite Billy Joel album. So, of course, I had to get the anniversary edition that comes in the long box. So, regarding music, you get The Stranger, the original album. Awesome album. So many of my favorite Billy Joel songs on there. Then you get CD2, which is live at the Carnegie Hall, June 3rd, 1977. 12-song live album. This one is probably my least favorite part of the disc, even though I love live stuff. It's just a bit too light on actual Stranger songs. There's only like 1 or 2 in that 12 that are actually from The Stranger. But the DVD sort of recovers things. So you get live promotional videos for both The Stranger and Just the Way You Are. And then you get the Old Grey Whistle test with about 10 more songs there. So in the actual box, in addition to the 3 discs, you get this sort of like faux book with like faux handwritten lyrics. You get a poster of Billy Joel's face. Let me just... There we go. All right. And then you get this modern book with pictures and lots of pictures and an essay write-up on the album, as you would come to expect from these box sets. Now, moving on to the actual, like, big stuff. Okay, so this is Eddie's archive. I'm not going to go through this today. It's an Iron Maiden box set. Mike and I are going to be very shortly recording an episode on that. We'll go through it in much more depth, so I'm not going to waste your time here with that. So, one of my top 2 Fleetwood Mac albums, the 1975 self-titled. Now, this is one of those sort of like classic older type bootlegs where it's like a gatefold with like the vinyl in one side and CDs in the other. But first, I'm going to show off the book that comes with it. So, interesting. I believe this would be an alternate photo from the sessions for the album cover. So, big write-up. Big write-up. Lots of pictures, as you've come to expect. Lyrics with penguins. But now, the music. So, as mentioned, gatefold vinyl in this part in the front, just regular old black vinyl. This is from before vinyl got popular and all these crazy colors started coming out. But the actual disc. So, the original album plus the single edits, early versions, and live from the Warner Brothers soundstage. That second part's about 4 songs. Some cool early versions on here, so like instrumental early takes, sort of demos, and in particular, there's an early version of Crystal on here, which is just Lindsay singing and an acoustic guitar. Now, the full version of Crystal really isn't much more than that. It's got drums, Stevie backing, and a keyboard, but it's cool to hear it as just Lindsay and the guitar. Then, probably as you'd expect by now, the main reason I bought this, live from the tour, sort of a compilation of the songs they played live on the tour, including a lot of earlier songs that would get phased out as they released more stuff, like both Oh Well and The Green Manalishi. And Stevie Nicks does some really cool sort of ghostly backing vocals during the outro to Green Manalishi. You know, the I can't replicate it. It's the woo bit during the outro. This live stuff actually really made me appreciate Stevie Nicks. Like every Fleetwood Mac live album makes me like appreciate a different member. The dance is the reason why Lindsey Buckingham is my favorite my favorite guitarist of all time. Watching him there doing like Big Love all by himself, nailing it vocally, nailing it instrumentally as well. That made me a Lindsey Buckingham fan for life. The Tango in the Night DVD made me appreciate Christine McVie a lot more because Lindsey isn't there. It's Rick and Billy. And so every time Christine opened her mouth to sing, it was, oh, thank God, an actual Fleetwood Mac singer. Mirage in concert made me appreciate Mick Fleetwood a lot because he didn't let the drugs at that point affect his playing. Unlike the vocalist, or at least I'm not a drummer, I can't tell, but he looked all right to me. He sounded all right to me. And then, of course, Stevie Nicks here. She's really going for it on the backing vocals to I'm So Afraid, my favorite version of that song. She does an awesome version of Rihanna with the... they did play Station Man on that tour. In fact, I do believe it's on here. So funny, I was being like, "Oh, I love this version of Fleetwood Mac. I love this version." Sorry, John McVie, I don't have a live album yet that made me sort of really appreciate it. I bet Jake's there. Like, every time Harrison's talking about like band members, he always skips the bass player. Sorry, Jake. Yeah, Ash is correct. I'm So Afraid is so good live. So this is one of my favorites of them all. This is Sabaton, The Last Stand, their album, and it's the earbook edition. Now, earbook just refers to the type of packaging that Nuclear Blast does on their top-of-the-range versions. So this has a lot of cool stuff in it. This is probably, I think, the best of all the Sabaton earbooks because there's no, like, one formula or, like, that for what gets included on an earbook. Some of the more recent earbooks haven't actually had any exclusive stuff on them. This has a ton of exclusive stuff. But first, you get a double-sided art print, vinyl LP size, so you could frame it in a vinyl frame if you wanted. Then you get a rather large poster of the album art that sort of just... Come on. There we are. Then you get a... Yeah, it wanted to unfold easy, but it didn't want to fold up easy. All right, I'll deal with that after the show. Then you get a limited double gatefold picture disc vinyl. I will bring out one of the vinyls. Bear with me so you can see it. This has on side D 2 of the bonus tracks associated with this album, but not the other 2, which is weird because there was probably room on the side. So that is sort of like the album art inspired side of the disc. And then that's sort of another art. I think the other disc has the same pictures on it.
Wow. Those are stunning. Can you flip it around one more time?
Yeah.
And also, I want to do some foreshadowing. We have Peter.
Sorry, Mike, you just cut out.
Yeah, I did. I pushed the wrong button. We have Peter Kerr in the house, so I just want to do some foreshadowing. Hey, Peter.
If you liked my Blood Brothers rant, you'll love what I have to say about the Purple album.
I was just going to say, Peter's here. Check out, it'll be tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, North American time. He's going to tell us all about shopping for records in Tokyo. Apparently it's bootleg heaven.
Oh yeah,
Rock
there are so many Japanese
in about 12 hours time. Check that out. Thank you for watching, Peter.
Yeah, there are so many great Japanese bootlegs. There are some eBay stores that have a lot of my money. And in addition to that vinyl, you actually get the titular earbook. Oh, you get 3 guitar picks as well in there. But so this is what an earbook is. So this it's got the discs. I'll get to the music later, but it's basically got illustrated art, lyrics, and sort of context for like sort of his historical write-up of like information about what the song is about. Lots of cool art in here. But so the actual music, The Last Stand is a concept album about, you guessed it, shocker, last stands in history. Like the album opens with Sparta. And The Last Stand is one of my top 3 Sabaton albums. But in addition to the album itself, you get a whole load of cool bonuses. So you get Camouflage, a cover of Stan Ridgway's Camouflage, and you get a cover of All Guns Blazing, Judas Priest, on all the deluxe versions of the album. In fact, the best thing about that Judas Priest cover is, so it starts off with the twisting, the strangled, blah, 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 which sounds like Halford. So at first I thought, oh, that's cool. They got the Halford intro for the song. And then Sabaton kicks off and Joachim's there and his power baritone nailing the song. If you ever didn't think a baritone could sing a Judas Priest song, listen to their covers of Jawbreaker and All Guns Blazing. I just saw Sabaton. They blew me away here in Perth. It was awesome. But then the second verse is handled by, well, it sounds like Rob Halford. So after the first couple of listens, oh, that's cool. They're sampling Rob Halford's vocals here in a duet. No. Guitarist Toby England just walks into the studio and just delivers a Halford-level vocal performance that is nearly indistinguishable from the man. And he's just the guitarist in Sabaton. So that made me appreciate that cover even more because it's not Halford. They haven't just taken Halford vocals. They've literally got their guitarist to sing like Halford. Then, okay, so the one thing that the earbook doesn't have from this era is the cover of Twisted Sister's Burn in Hell, which is the Japanese bonus track, which is exclusive to Japanese editions. So the 2 CD version I sent to Mike a while back has that Japanese bonus track. So I have owned the Japanese bonus track at one point and I have the MP3. But the final bonus track, the one that's exclusive to the earbook, is a cover, their only Iron Maiden cover they've done, and it's pleasantly surprisingly, it's Afraid to Shoot Strangers. Now, it's not the most revolutionary cover. It sounds more or less the same as the Blaze version, but it is awesome to hear Sabaton doing Iron Maiden and not just doing Iron Maiden like I have no doubt Joachim could nail Aces High or the Trooper in his power baritone, but that they chose Afraid to Shoot Strangers, I respect that a lot. But in addition to those bonus tracks, you also get a bonus DVD, which is live in Nantes 2016, France, which means that this is also exclusive to the earbook. Sorry, I'll get to that. The DVD is not exclusive to the earbook. Mike's version, the one that I sent him, has the DVD as well. That's from the limited edition. Now, this means that we now have a live album basically from each of the 3 years they were on tour for the Heroes album, so 2014, 2015, 2016. But you also get which is exclusive to the ebook, the CD audio of the show, that Nunt show, minus one song because they wanted to squeeze it onto one disc. But it was Wolfpack. We've got live versions of Wolfpack before. So that is a awesome set of Sabaton, my favorite of all their box sets. I forgot to mention the Fleetwood Mac set also has a DVD with a 5.1 surround sound mix of the album. I'll never listen to that, but it's there for those who like it. So the final box set, the mother of them all, which Mike and I have done a video on already. It's this gargantuan thing, 50 years of heavy metal, 42 discs or something of both previously released Priest and previously unreleased Priest. You can watch the video we did going through this. I'm not going to waste everyone's time doing another 20 minutes. All I'm just going to say in update of that video is that I hate the fact that the Invincible Shield Digipack sleeve is just too wide to fit in the cutouts that the rest of the albums from their career fit in this box set. They should have made it in the same packaging as the box set so that I could put Invincible Shield in there and it wouldn't. Anyway, Whitesnake, Mike.
That was a late fall, early winter 2022 show where we did the 50 Heavy Metal Years of Music box sets. Two of them on the screen at the same time, plus John T. Snow had his complete album collection by Judas Priest, and we broke down the box sets in pretty good detail. So on to Whitesnake, and again, tribute to Mr. Peter Kerr. I'm including this with the box sets. I also included this in a previous video where I did Deep Purple's Color albums. Now, this is very flawed. This is the remixed, reissued Purple album, which, you know, that's a whole ball of wax onto itself that could deserve its own show. But basically, to properly do a Purple album reissue, what it needed to have was the original album, deluxe edition with the 2 domestic bonus tracks, the Japanese bonus track, the Purple Tour Live, and whatever remix they wanted to throw on there. Well, that's not what you get. You get Disc 1, the 2023 remix. And also, think about how bad you have to screw up an album to need to do a 2023 remix of an album that was like, what, 2019 or something like that, 2017? It's not that old.
Mike, sorry to interrupt. Can you hold that up again to the screen and keep it still? $59.99 for that?
3 discs. There's a Blu-ray in there. Yes, that is true. I haven't, and you know what? I did that show on the Color albums 2 years ago, and I still haven't opened it. That's how much I love the Purple album. But anyway, Disc 1, 2023 remix. Disc 2 is you get 5 songs from the Purple Tour, and then you get alternative mixes, unzipped, punched in the nuts mix of Stormbringer. Soldier of Fortune featuring the Hook City Strings. Soldier of Fortune instrumental featuring the Hook City Strings. A lot of stuff. The real interesting thing that you do get with this that is exclusive to this is you get David Coverdale's 1972 Deep Purple audition tape. Everybody's Talking, Get Ready, Lonely Town, Lonely Street, and Dancing in the Street, plus a 1974 demo idea for the Stormbringer album. That's why I bought this, although I haven't listened to it yet. Then you get the Blu-ray with the Purple music
Don't mind
videos.
me back here. I'm just putting my box sets back together. That's why you're seeing things come up in front of...
Blu-ray with the Purple music videos, Purple Snake videos, live clips, and so on and so forth. Again, I consider this a bit of a fail. They should have included the original mix of the album, plus the 2 sets of bonus tracks from the original album, plus the Purple Tour. So basically, if you want to get a complete collection of the Purple album, and God help you if you do, like me, you need 4 CDs. And that is a miss. And I guess I'm going to have to open it soon, because at some point we have been talking to Mr. Kerr behind the scenes about talking about this album in greater detail. So we're going to close the show with my newest Whitesnake purchase. And you might think to yourself, Mike, oh, you got the Forevermore box set. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Because wait until they go 30% off. As soon as Forevermore came out, the previous box set went on sale. So that's what this is. Let's take a look inside, shall we? Fresh from Amazon, we have Whitesnake, Into the Light, the solo albums. So it's not really Whitesnake. It's not really Whitesnake. But what you get here is disc 1, Into the Light. I think that was a 2000 or 2001 solo album, but you get a 2024 remix. So that's cool. That's another album that I thought maybe didn't sound... It didn't sound like Whitesnake. So maybe this sounds more like Whitesnake. Disc 2 is Into the Light, additional remixes and demos. Love is Blind is among these, and that's a great song. That is a great song, and it deserves... Well, I mean, it's on here a lot of times, but it deserves your ear. Then we get Unfinished Symphonies, David Coverdale with Tony Franklin, one of my favorite bass players, the fretless monster, Tony Franklin. So you get a whole bunch of stuff with him, including something called Itchy Finger. I'm interested in hearing that. Tony Franklin was, I guess, briefly in Whitesnake. I'm not sure exactly how that goes. I think he was in during the the greatest hits era around 1994 for 95. CD3 is David Coverdale's debut solo album, North Winds, but a 2024 remix and some bonus tracks, a strings version, a piano version, strings only. Then we get Whitesnake, his first solo album, Whitesnake, in a 2024 remix. And Young Lads Blues, 1968 home demos. Like, that's almost as cool as the 1972 Deep Purple audition tape. So his home demos include titles such as Sunny Days, Love Me in the Morning, I Will Love You, Moment in Time, It Would Be Nice, There Was a Time, Why, and I Still Love You. He was always singing about love, wasn't he?
And other things.
And other things. Here's a song for you about my Whitesnake. Into the Light, you get the original mix of the original album, but a 2024 remaster. And same with the two 1970s solo albums. You get the original mixes, but a 2024 remaster of each. So, pretty comprehensive. As I mentioned earlier, those two solo albums were reissued with bonus tracks, and I haven't done the research to see if all the bonus tracks are included in this box set. That's something I will have to do some listening and some research to determine. Obviously, I have a lot of Whitesnake, including 3 sealed sets that we've seen tonight. My final comment about this is that there's one track missing, which is one of my favorite David Coverdale solo tracks, a song called The Last Note of Freedom. And I actually used that track in one of my drone videos on this channel last year. It's a magnificent song, was written by Billy Idol. And it's really different from Whitesnake. It's not on this box set. It's, for whatever reason, probably record labels. Now, I did discover, however, that the remix of Last Note of Freedom, which I thought I needed in my collection, the remix is on a compilation called Whitesnake Gold. It's on the second disc of Whitesnake Gold. And the original version is on the Days of Thunder soundtrack, which I have as well, because it also has an exclusive Guns N' Roses track. It has the original mix of Knock, Knock, Knocking on Heaven's Door. Wow. So, long-winded. That's my Whitesnake. Let's check out with the comments here. Peter K. I liked his comment here about the Purple album, like prawns in the hot sun. I had prawns for breakfast this morning. A lot of folks say this is DC's best work. Interesting. 1997, Tony Franklin was in the band. Thank you for correcting me. Different record label is why it's not in the box set. It was on Geffen. And Mike's getting a voice clip of, oh, great. Thank you. And that's everything. That's all my box sets, and that's all your box sets, isn't it? We're done.
More or less. Like, I've got stuff like The Hobbit on 4K and like Live Aid, but nothing much interesting there.
Well, a long time ago, we did a show on every music DVD in my collection. Maybe we can do some of yours in the future, although I think there's going to be a lot of live DVDs.
Oh, you bet, yeah. In fact, I think they're all live DVDs. I don't think I have this. Actually, I've got a... Well, actually, that's got live stuff. Yeah.
Well, Harrison, speaking of music DVDs, maybe we can do some foreshadowing, which is, if all goes according to plan, next Friday we will be live again, and we will be talking about Rockin' Rio, Iron Maiden, for the next episode of 50 Years of Iron Maiden. And then shortly thereafter that, we have another DVD to talk about Visions of the Beast with a very, very, very special guest, Mr. Bob Seska from Camp Chaos. And if that name rings a bell, Camp Chaos went viral back in 2000 for a little cartoon called Napster Bad.
And in between those two shows, you're going to get to look at Eddie's archive.
And there's that too. Actually, Harrison has been bugging me to do a bootleg show.
Oh, for years I've been bugging. I've been like, Ash has got so many good ones. I'm like, Mike, we have to do a bootleg show.
So that's something
keeps putting it off.
Have to do. I do keep putting it off because all my bootlegs, it's like trying to figure out what bands I have bootlegs from. There's so many. But anyway, I think we can table that one and consider it for the future. Oh, you're not gate crashing it. You're invited. Peter Kerr, Rock Daydream Nation. Check it out tomorrow morning, North America time. He will be doing a complete tell-all about his shopping experience in Japan. And I'm really excited about that because I've always wanted to go. Obviously, we've been talking about Japanese imports tonight. I'm a big fan of the Japanese CD market and everything they put into their very special releases over there.
Mike single-handedly keeps them in business.
Done. So we got a couple shows with Peter that are in the planning stages now. So, Harrison, Rockin' Rio, I'll see you next week. You and I have to get together and record an episode on that Eddie's Archive box set that we both own. We're going to go in depth on that. We're going to talk about every single Iron Maiden track that is on there that we have not already discussed on the show.
Yep.
It's going to be exhausting.
We'll also get into the story of why this is the box set of Theseus for me.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting story too. And if you know the story of the ship of Theseus, then you might have an idea what we're going to get at there. But that's going to be a fascinating show, especially for people who do collect and are looking for completion in their CD collections. Whew. Okay, so Harrison, as always, we like to go out on a song. I haven't picked a song. Do you have a pick, or do you want me to pick one?
I feel like I'm always saying this, but do we have I Don't Advocate Drugs by Max the Axe?
We do have I Don't Advocate Drugs by Max the Axe.
Mike always asks, so what do you want to listen to? And I'm always like, let's turn this into a PSA.
You know, I wouldn't mind making a new version of this with the live version with Uncle Meat singing, but this is the original version.
We have discussed the idea of doing a music video for Max the Axe. It's something I'm very, very interested in doing, so...
And you know you'll see it on this show when it happens. But by request of Harrison Kopp, this is a little song called I Don't Advocate Drugs by Max the Axe. We will see you next week, same time, same channel, for Rockin' Rio, 50 Years of Iron Maiden. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.